What's up again, guys? We are back out on the rails again. It is 06:43 this morning. Sunrise is just now starting to come up. We're on our way to Marion for the day. Trying to get one more trip in before it starts getting really cold out. Because it might be a bit until I go super far north. Maybe after Christmas or sometime. But let's see what we can get out of this day. I had only arrived for about 10 minutes when the first train came in on the NS Sandusky side. It was an empty coal train, likely heading back to Portsmouth for more coal loads. He was keeping radio silent, so I never did get his ID. The coal cars that he's got, Railfans usually refer to them as coal tubs because the bottom of the cars look like the bottoms of bathtubs. He was only doing about 20 miles an hour across the diamond. There had been a defect detected inside the diamond a few days ago, and a track maintenance crew had yet come out to fix it. They will be doing that later this afternoon. Not long after the coal train cleared, CSX Y121 came out of the Marion yard on the Indy Line side and headed east to the industrial yard on the east end of Marion. The Conrail caboose on the end of the train looks like it had been marked up with spray paint or graffiti recently. I decided to move a half mile west of Kenton Avenue. There I could see that an eastbound on the Indy Line was getting a flashing yellow. In about 5 minutes it updated to a high green, telling us the train can proceed at maximum authorized speed. The eastbound in question is M364, daily manifest from Avon, Indiana to Selkirk, New York. He's usually called the Land Barge train by Indy Line rail fans, and today is no exception. The reason why 364 is referred to as the Land Barge train is because he can run up of anywhere between 160 and 210 cars, and he's mostly known for having a long string of boxcars on him, which is what he did have today, as well as a mid-train DPU, CSX number 951, pushing and pulling as hard as he can. The rest of him was autoracks, at least about 60 to 70 of them. He usually does carry a lot of autoracks on him, so it's not surprising, but to see the rest of them being all autoracks, it seemed a little different. After the passing of 364, I moved over to Silver Street at the south end of NS's Marion Yard, where a yellow over green was showing for southbound intermodal and hotshot 28N. 28N is daily Chicago, Illinois to Charlotte, North Carolina containers and trailers. He's usually through Marion at about afternoon, but for some reason he was here about 2 hours early. The Marion local, L38, is on his way now to Waldo, shortly after 28N had passed. L38 will go to Waldo to pick up some gondolas and grain hoppers, and then he'll come back and bring them into Marion for 117 to pick up later. After L38 had gotten out of the way, southbound on the C&O, L457 came running across the diamond. L457 is a daily road local from Walbridge, Ohio to Parsons Yard in Columbus. The same locomotive would come back the next day on L456 back to Walbridge. The maintenance team on the NS had finally arrived to check out the defect in between the diamond. But before they could do their work, they would have to wait for a CSX westbound on the Indy line. The westbound was empty autorack train M217, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Louisville, Kentucky. He'll swing south at Ridgeway to go work at the Honda plant in Pottersburg, and then swing back west at Ridgeway, and then south at Sydney. When the track crews started their work on the diamond, I moved down to Darius Street, where another NS northbound was giving an advance approach. The northbound was 19W, and he was passing L38, who was working a steel company. 19W is daily Winston-Salem, North Carolina to Bellevue, Ohio manifest. Now, in this day and age, they teach you about train safety when you're pretty young, so you'll remember it sooner. But I don't really think this kid cared about it, or he probably just forgot. Probably he didn't care. 19W can sometimes be a pretty big train, and today he is. But the second half of him is all grain hoppers. He is technically towing another train with him. The last 3 locomotives you saw on the head end are separate. Rather than having them run as distributed power mid-train, they just put the power on the head end behind the first 2 units and drag the grain cars separately. Right after the track crew had finished, about a half hour later, 179 came out of Bellevue and was heading south through Marion. 179 is daily Bellevue, Ohio to Irondale, Alabama, and today he's a big one. .179 up to this point had recently been altering between running with and without DPUs. I wonder if this was the case today. Nope, he's got 2 mid-train, an NS AC44C6M and a BNSF ES44C4. About another hour passed after 179 when another northbound came up. Judging by the intermodal containers, I can't tell if this was either 277 or 273. I'm thinking it was 273, but I'm not sure. He didn't call out any signals and was keeping radio silent again. 2 ET44ACs sandwiching an ES44AC for power today. The Railfan you see across the street over there shooting video is Midwest Railfanning Productions. Him and I are friends, and he joined me a couple hours ago for the day. I'll be putting a link to his YouTube in the description of this video. I heard that M332 was coming on the Indy line, so I decided to try a different shot. I moved over to the east end of Marion on Barnhart Street. Here, M332 came rolling in, unusually without his intermodal stacks. He usually has them and sometimes he doesn't. The treat for me on this train was number 9051, a C40-9W in the lead. In about another 4 miles, M332 will be stopping at CP95. Here, the double track crunches to a single main, and M331 was on the single main about to pass by, so M332 would have to wait. I got back up to the depot in time to witness NS train 119 coming north. 119 is daily Linwood, North Carolina to Bellevue, Ohio. The first half is usually coke loads, and the rest is manifest, which is what we see today. 119 usually has a lot of coke loads, and today he did. I don't know where these will go after they get into Bellevue. And one of the reasons I like Marion so much is because that you almost always get a meet whenever you're up there. Such as this case, as NS Train 171, Daily Conway, Pennsylvania to Chattanooga, Tennessee, comes rolling in with a white-faced Dash 9 and a slug set. Almost all slug sets have been confined to, well, basically yard jobs on all railroads. But to see one on a road freight, even though it wasn't leading, is still a pretty cool sight. Not even a minute after 119 and 171 had cleared the diamonds, M331 was lined west across them on the Indy line. M331 is the counterpart to 332. 332 recently got extended all the way to Baltimore, Maryland, but 331 still runs as Cumberland, Maryland to Avon, Indiana. While 331 was clearing up, I heard the defect detector at milepost 110 on the Indy line give off something for an eastbound. So I stood put on the tower, and not long after, an empty coal train came flying east. After listening out on the radio, I found out it was E700. He was heading back to Newell, Pennsylvania for more coal loads. He would get a new crew at Crestline and then turn east onto the CSX Newcastle sub at Greenwich. I heard one more northbound on the C&O calling out signals, so I ended up staying put at the depot, but moved over to an empty parking lot. It was a loaded coal train. I couldn't get a symbol on him, but I'm assuming he was going up either towards Indiana Harbor or he was going to go to Toledo. Once again, like some of the other trains today, I couldn't figure out whether he was up from West Virginia or from down farther south, so I'll just have to guess with this one. After the coal train passed, I decided to start making my way towards home, but I ended up stopping at the 38.6 defect detector on the Sandusky district in Waldo at the Newman's Cardington Road crossing, in time to notice 117 flying north. 117 had recently been changed to a Portsmouth, Ohio to Bellevue, Ohio manifest train, and today he had quite a surprise. A CMQ, Central Maine and Quebec unit, now numbered NS 3988, was trailing second. NS had purchased about 36 CEFX AC 4400 CWs recently. 2 of them were still in CMQ paint. My last stop on the way home was this, milepost 34.05. These signals, I believe, are N and W era intermediate signals, or block signals, probably automatic block signals. The green here was showing for an NS southbound, while the signal on the other side of the track was red to tell us that there was something in the block. The train in question was 18M, Daily Elkhart, Indiana to Crewe, Virginia. I don't think he does any work stops anywhere, but then again, I could be wrong. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video of mine. Shout out to Midwest Railfan Productions. This is CSC Productions at milepost 34 on the NS Sandusky District, signing off.